Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to what is OJT, which is on the job training, PWE, paid work experience, and work-based learning experience. I am your moderator, Denise R. Barnes. I am the FCIC, which is the Florida Center for Inclusive Communities, employment coordinator, and also a consultant for CARD here at USF, which stands for the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. Today's presentation is brought to you by Florida APSE, which is the Association for Persons Supporting Employment First, and also FCIC. So to begin, I want to launch some polls. I'd like to get your opinion on a couple things and find out some information about you. Now, they should pop up on your screen, okay? I hope they do. And if you have trouble, let me know. So this first one is about demographics. It says, check the category that best describes you. Adult with a disability, age 18 and over, an individual with a disability, 17 and below, family member, caregiver, legislators, policymakers, state or national partner, local community partner, or other. So please check that.
Denise, it looks like people are having difficulty viewing the poll. I cannot see it from my end either.
Okay.
Oh, Carrie says she sees it now.
And it also pops up in the chat for those who have difficulty with pop-up blockers.
Perfect. Thank you.
And whoever is admitting people, I appreciate you. Okay, we'll give that just a few more seconds and I'll show the results. Okay, most of you are community partners and some of you are other. So thank you for that. I have two more. I'd also like to know where you are from. So we'll give it a couple seconds for it to show up. What part of Florida are you viewing from today? Okay. Looks like I need to do some advertising in the Panhandle area, North Florida. I appreciate you guys being here today. And I have one more. Did you happen to vote today yet? Yes, no, or not yet? Ooh, we got a lot of early birds. Again, you should be able to see it in the chat and or as a pop-up, but if you don't have a chance, I'll make sure that you get a chance to answer these at a later time. So thank you for all of that. My presentation went wild, so let's do it this way. So our speakers today are Devin O'Connor. He is the founder and executive director of the Grow Group. It is an innovative social enterprise focused on raising the standard of service for individuals with disabilities seeking employment based out of Tampa Bay. Through community partnerships, such as you'll see in his presentation today, employer relationships, and a diverse and dynamic team, the Grow Group has successfully placed over 500 people across the state of Florida. Devin earned a Master's of Arts in Education in Human Development and Secondary Special Education and Transition from the George Washington University, and an undergraduate degree in International Business from the University of South Florida, Go Bulls. Additionally, Devin completed the work incentives planning certification at Cornell University, the supported employment certification at Virginia Commonwealth University, and international policy studies at Troy University. Aside from his leadership role within his organization, Devin also works directly with a small case as a job coach to remain connected to his passion for collaborating with individuals with disabilities. And some of the recent awards he's received have been APSES, include National APSES Wendy Wood Emerging Leader, the National Rehabilitation Association Award, and the Belgrave Award, and the University of Florida's Fast 56 Award. And he's also a board member for the Florida APSE. Our other speaker is Tony Silvigo, CEO and founder of eSmart Recycling. He launched his company in 2014 with the mission to reduce e-waste and bridge the digital divide by promoting technology access to underserved communities. Originally from Venezuela, Tony arrived in the U.S. in 2011, settling in Tampa, Florida, where he built a business on sustainability and social impact. eSmart Recycling has donated nearly 3,000 computers to over 50 nonprofits, primarily in the Tampa Bay area. Widely recognized for his efforts, Tony actively engages in local organizations to foster educational and economic growth, using his business as a force for social good and environmental responsibility. Our other speaker that's here with Devin today is Roy Kirchner. He is a seasoned entrepreneur and industry expert with over 2 decades of experience in sales, marketing, additive manufacturing. As the founder of Ultimate 3D Printing Store, Roy has built a reputation as a leader in cutting-edge technology and business growth. His journey from the top sales performer in the automotive industry to a successful business owner showcases his relentless drive and adaptability. Roy now offers keynote speaking, sales training, and consulting services, sharing his insights on innovation, resilience, and the power of being different, with a passion for helping others achieve their goals. And Roy's dynamic presentations are tailored coaching inspire businesses to elevate their performance and embrace new opportunities. Go, guys, you are amazing. And I am going to give sharing power over to Devin O'Connor.
Awesome. Thank you, Denise. Thank you so much for those introductions. I'm going to skip the first couple slides as soon as I get our slides up, because they were dedicated towards introducing these two gentlemen and partners in our paid job training programs. So give me a moment while I figure out the slide share capability. I'm not eloquent with Microsoft Teams. Share.
There you go.
Did I get it?
Yes, you did.
Awesome. Okay. So the title of this presentation is Job Training, Accessible Paid Training Options for Future Careers through On-the-Job Training, Work-Based Learning Experiences, and Other Work Experiences. As Denise mentioned, my name is Devin O'Connor. I'm the founder and executive director. I'm also an employment specialist, probably the role I'm most proud of. I've been a job coach for over 15 years, working with a few organizations, focusing on individuals with disabilities. We have grown our organization to expand some of the other populations we serve, but historically, this has been a focus of ours throughout the inception of our nonprofit. The Grow Group is a nonprofit, and we focus on individuals with all disabilities, so any type, and our mission is to provide training and meaningful employment opportunities for people from underserved populations while supporting the employers who hire them. And I'm excited to bring in these two gentlemen today just to talk a little bit more about our relationship, but really about the paid job training and just the different experiences that some of our clients and VR clients have had while working with both Roy and Tony. So Roy, I know we had quite the introduction for all three of us, and I appreciate that. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to share a little bit more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am just kind of like we said, a seasoned entrepreneur. I literally have always been an entrepreneur, always had businesses. The thing that I will say about 3D printing, additive manufacturing, getting this business, I started building it in 2014 and opened in 2015. And I'd probably say what when we say the word entrepreneur, 3D printing, there's still no school for this. When I started this business, there's no policies, procedures, manuals. Every day I still wake up sometimes saying, why didn't I just buy a McDonald's? Like everything's figured out, right? But this is definitely entrepreneurship. It was getting a brand new technology, bringing it to the forefront in the United States, working with all types of companies. And then we saw extraordinary growth. I'll give everybody a snapshot of some things that have happened in my business. Is the day before the country shut down with COVID, I was in a 1,900 square foot facility, had 4 employees and about 7 to 10 calls a day. The country shut down in February of 2020. The day that it shut down, we went to 200 to 300 calls a day, every day, 7 days a week. We went from 4 employees to 38 employees, and we went from 1,900 square feet to occupying 65,000 square feet in less than 90 days. So we saw an extraordinary growth. And a lot of people say, congratulations. I can tell you, growing that fast, you don't have the opportunity to hire correctly. You don't have the opportunity to put in policies, procedures, manuals, all of these types of things. And what you do is you do your best. You try your hardest, and it makes you into who you are. Because if you can weather the storm of that tremendous growth, it allows you to figure out so many things as an entrepreneur, that you have all this knowledge and this information to be able to share with other people. In the mistakes that I've made, I've kind of made it where I don't want anybody else to make those mistakes. So a lot of times it's being able to share information, being able to really talk to anybody that's out there that is experiencing things in technology, things in business, and really help them by solving the learning gap of them going through something that I've already been through that I can help them with. So that's a little bit more information about me. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. Thanks for joining us today, too. I appreciate it. Next, we will ask Tony to share a little bit more about himself and eSmart Recycling.
For sure. Thank you so much, Devin. Hi, everybody. My name is Tony Salvaggio. Um, Roy, man, you're such an inspiration. The hustle and your story is so incredible. For me, it's a different kind of journey in the sense that um, I came by myself from a country where I had to sort of leave because of the circumstances, and I came to this amazing place that opened its doors to me, and they gave this community. I am so grateful for this community, specifically Tampa. Um, I now looking back, I think it was a matter of timing. I came here in 2011, and I started my company in 2014, and we went through the learning curve of not only I learned like the learning curve of not only adapting to a new country, but also um, adapting to a way of doing business in a new country. And one of the things that I learned very early on in my journey was that I'm a scrap child. You know, I grew up in the scrap business. That was my first real industry that I learned when I was in college back in Venezuela. And right there, we learned something that if you can sort trash, you can sell it. And that was life changing for me, because then I stopped seeing an aluminum can as an aluminum can. I saw it as aluminum that was sold at 80 cents a pound. And having that mindset in my 20s, and then coming here to the United States when I was 24, I started seeing the world differently. And when I started my company, one of the things that caught my attention was the huge gap that we had in our community, where, you know, I was seeing problems that I felt like should not exist in a country like United States, in the best country in the world, in my opinion. And it caught me by surprise when I started looking at the amount of wealth that we had as a country, but also the gap that we had in our communities. And because I was dealing with computers, one of those very tangible gaps was access to technology. And then in trying to connect the dots, we said, well, if we were able to convince all of the partners in our community to recycle their computers and their electronics with us, then we could generate enough surplus of refurbished computers that would help us guarantee that everybody in our community would have access to connectivity, access to technology, and therefore access to sustainable education. And it's been a journey that, like Roy said, started like 10 years ago. And if someone would have told me that I was going to be here, I probably wouldn't have done it. But now we're into deep, and it's our I feel like it's our responsibility to figure it out. And I feel like because we're in this very special place where we get to work and collaborate with partners like Devin and what we're doing together, it it creates a holistic approach to a business that I do feel like it is going to be the next generation of businesses where they're very focused and centric in how are we making an impact in our community, in the same community where we're living, where we're growing, where we're serving.
Well said. Thanks for that, Tony. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So my goal for this presentation, I actually have three. One is to get you out with enough time for those who designated lunchtime for early voting. The next one is to just do a quick introduction. If you are already familiar with on-the-job training and work-based learning experiences, great. I just want to just cover briefly so that we can all kind of have the same verbiage, same understanding of what we're talking about. And then the second part would really be to dive in with Roy and with Tony to learn from them and their experiences hosting on-the-job training or work-based learning experiences, and also get their perspective as business owners in technology-related industries where we can shed some light on how to improve our processes, how to better serve employers, and how to truly create meaningful pathways for individuals with disabilities who are interested in this line of work or in these lines of work. So on-the-job training, just to kind of go through, as vocational rehabilitation describes it or defines it, is OJT. It's a hands-on method teaching skills and competencies needed for an individual to successfully perform a specific job within the workplace. So trainees learn in real or simulated, but mostly real working environments where they practice job duties with the guidance from a job coach, a supervisor, a colleague, and or other experienced employees. On-the-job trainings can shorten an employee's time to proficiency. I think both Roy and Tony have seen that with the individuals they've hosted. And these are typically utilized for individuals who are over the ages of 18 and who are not currently enrolled in school. From my experience, on-the-job training is a great opportunity for people with no work experience or no recent work experience to kind of close that gap and develop those skills. It's also an awesome opportunity for individuals who are entering a new field of work, maybe someone who is no longer in high school, they've either aged out or graduated, and they're interested in pursuing something, but don't have the capacity or the ability or the resources to go and continue their education. It's also great for, as VR describes, significant and most significant disabilities. And I put this in quotations because, after 15 years of doing this, I'm not exactly sure what this means. I work with a lot of individuals on a daily basis who vary greatly in capability. But I think at the end of the day, it's just about motivation, access, and also just interest. Is the person interested in this line of work? And so a lot of my time is spent working with individuals who would be described as this significant or most significant disabilities. And I love learning a little bit more about what they can do and matching them with employers like Tony or Roy or others in our community. And then the last group is those with barriers to employment like homelessness or houselessness, criminal backgrounds, transportation barriers, things like that. So on-the-job training is a great way. I describe it as almost training wheels to employment for someone to become familiar, to develop the skills, and for the employer to host an opportunity for them to add value to their operations and to their mission. Work-based learning experiences, as defined by VR, these are focused primarily on students who are currently enrolled in some sort of school. They may include in-school or after-school opportunities or experience outside the traditional school setting, including internships that is provided in an integrated environment. So it's really important to note that these environments should be with individuals with and without disabilities and not the model of bringing a group of individuals with disabilities to work together within an employer. to the maximum extent possible. So obviously, if we're hosting a few individuals with disabilities and they're working with the company on the whole, that can still be integrated, but we really are trying to move away, or at least our organization's trying to move the needle forward in the direction of not having cohorts or not having, sheltered workshops, but just that happen to be hosted with an employer. Work-based learning experiences is an educational approach or instructional methodology that uses workplace or real work to provide students with the knowledge and skills that will help them connect school experiences to real life work activities and future career opportunities. These are wonderful opportunities for people to try out work on a short-term basis and to explore different careers while they're participating in this. I personally feel like this would be something I would have valued greatly and really benefited from because, Tony, like you mentioned, I'm in an industry that I never thought I would be in. It's one that I love a lot, but if I don't necessarily recommend it for everybody. It's kind of a challenging thing to get into and to stay in. And I think that it would have been helpful for me as a person who's, a youth going through school and graduating to have more of an understanding through these work experiences. These opportunities are meant to engage and motivate and augment the learning process. So if we have someone who's not a traditional learner, who maybe has a learning disability and school is just not created for them, instead of slipping through the cracks and having a person at the end of that experience have no idea what they want to do, a work-based learning experience is a great way for them to start to chip away at what work looks like for them and how they can be successful. These opportunities can be done in conjunction with private, for-profit, public, or nonprofit businesses, like the two gentlemen we invited today, and or through web-based resources. So work-based learning experiences, in my opinion, are great options for students to develop hard and soft skills. It's been really cool to work with the same student through multiple work-based learning experiences. I have a gentleman right now who is going to USF. He's in the College of Business, the MUMA College of Business, and is in information systems. And when I first met with him, he had never worked before. He had no idea what it was like to clock in or to professionally communicate or to work as part of a team in a professional setting. And so our first experience that he and his family decided they wanted to look into was food service. And that has been many of our first experiences. And so, in my opinion, also, it's a great first experience because you learn really quickly what you don't want to do and maybe what you do want to do if you stick in it. But then that same individual was able to move on, and then they went over towards customer service, and then they were in more of a retail setting, and then they went to warehouse, and now they're actually moving. Actually, they were with Denise Barnes at University of South Florida in an office-based position with FCIC, and now they're doing data management for an international data company as their last, hopefully, work-based learning experience before they transition into employment. And so that example is shared because it shows you both the hard and the soft skills that someone can go through this continuum of training from start to finish. They're also great for people with no work experience or no recent work experience, those interested in exploring work in a field related to their educational path. Significant and most significant disabilities as defined by VR, I find that a lot of times these training opportunities are providing a pathway for someone who may not even be considered by vocational rehabilitation for supported employment or maybe even discovery and customized employment. These on-the-job trainings or work-based learning experiences can both be used as ways to really do a work trial and figure out, can this person be successful? And if so, what does that look like, regardless of their, disability? It's also great for people with barriers to employment, like the ones we mentioned before. So now for the good part, in my opinion. And sorry, Tony and Roy, I did not prepare you with these questions, but I did let you know we're going to ask you a couple questions. So they're not going to be too challenging. Feel free to sprinkle it with your own perspective and be really honest, because I know some of this is talking about, the Grow Group services and working with us. But really, my goal in this is to share, what you all, your perspective as far as working through these on-the-job trainings, and also to share how we can make it better. So my first question for both of you gentlemen is, what was your experience with hosting a paid job training? And Tony, if you don't mind, go first.
Yeah, for sure. For me, so we've been hosting candidates here over the past, on and off over the past 3 to 4 years. But it is recently, in my opinion, that I started seeing the opportunity more intentional in creating a more. I saw it because one of the things that caught my attention a lot when we were going through the interview process, and usually how it goes is that there, a representative from the company comes and brings a candidate that they feel would be a good fit, and then we spend a little bit of time talking to the candidate, and we go out into the warehouse and we do a tour, and then we come back. And one thing that I started noticing it was that there are some candidates that when they get to our warehouse and they see all the computers and all the technology, you can see that their eyes light up. You know, it's like a little kid on the candy store. And being able to see that and then immediately put them into a job that is going to bring that passion out of them very instinctively, that has been a great part of the experience for me, because it has also taken us to a point of creating very well defined tasks and jobs that need to be performed. So I would say that for me it was eye opening. And it's been great. We've had some people that are extremely fun and wonderful to work with.
Awesome. And what about you, Roy?
Mine has been an absolute pleasure, but let me kind of walk you through, and I think I'm a little bit different than some people. I everybody that's on the call, I graduated high school with the fourth grade reading level. I couldn't read or write, and I never went to college. I had disabilities myself that held me back. I literally, if it didn't interest me, I wouldn't learn it. So I struggled tremendously. And how I got through that was at the age of 18 years old, I finally found a mentor that said, "You're not stupid, Roy. You're not dumb. You're not an idiot. You're just different. You're just different." And it took an amazing role in my life on allowing me to become an entrepreneur, a successful business owner. And what I look at tremendously is I've been able in my life to do something I want to do every single day. I don't look at it as a job. I look at it as I enjoy doing it. If I didn't enjoy doing it, I would do something else, because you only have one life to live. And I think the biggest thing that I see when we bring in candidates is through the interview process is I want to, just like Tony said, I want to see them get excited. I want them to find something that if they come to be part of my organization, I want them to find. I want to see like their lights, like their eyes light up, because I think that's the most important thing. Is I don't want people to think of it as a job. I want them to think of it as it's an opportunity to grow and learn. And we've seen that. So I can tell you, um, in front of everybody, Devin, I can tell you that the candidates that I've gotten, they've got integrity, moral values, honor, respect. They're great team members. They do what they say they're going to do. I've just gotten the right ones. I don't know what it is, but I can tell you, like, it's a breath of fresh air. And because of me growing up the way I grew up and mentorship, I want them to get what they want out of being here as OJT, but I want them to go a little bit farther and get in and realize that I don't want any disability to hold somebody back, right? Because we see in life, and we see plenty of people with disabilities overcome obstacles and become whatever they want to become, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. Is the key is uh, the candidates that come in, they've definitely been told that this is going to be an exciting place to come, and then when they come and start OJT with me, they love it, and we love having them as part of the team. And I think it's truly amazing, because I work in an organization where I'm a leader. I don't like the word boss. I'm a leader of a team, and we have team members. And if a team member doesn't know something, I've taught my team something very, very valuable. I've taught them to slow down and teach the person next to them how to do something. Don't just do it. Teach the next person to lift that person up. So in some of the candidates that we've brought in, they know something that even my team members don't, that they're, like you said, everybody's different, everybody's unique. And some of them have like literally dived into certain things that you would call like subject matter experts in. And because they've just like, that's their niche, that's what they know. And they've actually lifted up some of my team members. So I've truly enjoyed this opportunity to have these candidates come in. And I've found that I've found that they they are they're great people. They're great people, and it's hard to find good people nowadays. But these are really good candidates that have come in, and we've had a pleasure being able to lift them up and help them, and learn from them, and them learn from us.
That's amazing. Thank you. The bar is set high too. Now I feel like I never want to send you someone you're disappointed in. But I think part of it is just getting to know the person, getting to know what their interests are, and then, not over promising and under delivering, because we do sometimes make a match that's not great, or we are working with someone who's maybe not motivated, and we're learning through these experiences, or maybe they just don't like that type of work and they thought that they were interested in originally. And so it's refreshing to hear both of your perspectives. And just to kind of take a big step back, both Tony and Roy have hosted multiple on-the-job trainings and also have resulted in job offers as well. And so, and not only that, but taking it a step further, those that weren't offered a job have now been able to add this experience to the resume and either go back to school with more purpose and more of an understanding of what they want to do, or have obtained employment with similar businesses. So it has been a testament to both of your training and just taking the time to offer, not only servant leadership, but also getting to know the individuals that are coming through, recognizing their strengths, and allowing them to add value to your processes. So I appreciate both of those answers. And always let me know if something doesn't go right. My next question is we'll start with Tony again. What were some of your biggest takeaways from the experience? We heard from you regarding the initial just kind of walking around, the interview process and touring, but you really spend a lot of time to get to know the people once they're there as well. And so I'm wondering, now that you've hosted a few on-the-job trainings, what are some of your biggest takeaways?
I think it's a matter of perspective for me, right? I think that the moment I realized that, in fact, this is probably the first work experience that some of these folks are having, that is probably the first time that they're understanding what an impact driven company is about, because our culture and our ethos is that we first went out and it is the solution of that social problem what drives the business model. So if we're not connecting the dots in a way where we can figure out how we're delivering sustainable technology to the people that we serve in the community, then that is the anchor for our value proposition. That's what drives our values. That's how we operate in the company. So then when I started realizing that I had the opportunity to plant that seed in the minds and hearts of all the people that go through here, so they understand that um, the purpose, in my opinion, for businesses is to become a force for social good. And if you have that as an anchor, then you start to look at the word differently. So when I saw that this is probably the first time that somebody is going to speak that mindset into them, and they'll be able to experience it, that understanding of that responsibility has made me shift a little bit internally in how we are growing our team and how I'm pouring into them. And even like I was mentioning, the fact that when we had a student come in and someone and maybe we were working with them and we were like, why is what's happening with the process that we have to analyze better so we can have a person successfully complete that task, and we can have a clear measurement of whether they're doing a good job or not. And then we can do that on the daily, and then we can really measure what grade of difficulty of tasks we could assign them into, and have a better understanding of how they connect the dots, right? And we didn't have that. We started creating that process in my warehouse as a result of this. And it has given more clarity to my team, and it has sped up and streamlined my operations in the company. So I think that, like Roy was saying, we are enjoying the fact that because we need to adjust slightly our processes to accommodate the profile of the folks that we're working with, it's in turn making us a better company as a byproduct. Does that make sense?
Yes, I realized I was on mute, but the whole time I'm with you. Yeah, that was amazing. It's awesome to hear that. And Roy, your turn. What about you?
I think the biggest takeaway was one of the candidates come in and he was trying to figure out the direction in the way that he wanted to go in school. He was going one way, which was architectural, and he could change to engineering. But the biggest thing, changing to engineering, he was going to literally have to be in school. I think it was like an extra year or two. So it's a big, difficult decision. And I think the biggest thing was him coming in and experiencing both sides with us, asking a lot of questions, digging in and figuring out. And by the time, the OJT was done, he had actually figured out that he was okay with going back to school for a lot longer time, but that was truly going to interest him. And I think that's the biggest thing, because I think, like you said, the most important thing is the next generation and them enjoying what they do every single day, right? And being enjoying what you do, because like you said, work is work. It's you're there a lot, you're there most of your life, right? So you got to enjoy what you do. And I think that was the biggest thing, is helping him make that decision, and I think that's the purpose of this, right? The purpose of this is to give people experience and let them figure out a direction to go. And I think, Devin, you said it first, is like, back in the day, if I had the opportunity to be part of some type of program like this where I could experience, because nothing can nothing can get you the experience but really OJT, like actually being in a company. I mean, you could go to school, but it's completely different than being in an organization. And especially, there's times that it's fast paced, there's times that it's not as fast, it's slower paced, different things like that. So that experience is vital for them. So I think that was my biggest takeaway, is being able to help that decision process be able to be made.
Awesome. And I think a theme for both of you all, it sounds like, is that your process is improved, or there was not only value added by the applicant, but because that applicant or that candidate or that, trainee was there, that it kind of had a ripple effect through your organizations where it added value in other areas that maybe it did not anticipate or expect. And truthfully, that's something that we see pretty frequently, but it means a lot more to hear that from an employer than it does from a job coach, whose job is to assist and support individuals with disabilities, or to hear it from a university system or vocational rehabilitation. So I think, our focus moving forward is just to continue to have employers like yourselves to share this perspective, so that other employers can hear it. And I know that this session is recorded as well, but this is a great way for us to kind of share that message from a different vantage point, and in my opinion, the most valuable vantage point. So I've got one more question for you both. Let's see if I can, there we go. How can we continue to improve paid training opportunities for people with disabilities? And Roy, I'll let you start first this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing as you're a nonprofit. The more that you can grow and the more that we can give this type of opportunity and make awareness. We have one gentleman that he is here, but we sit in what is called, I know there's some people from all over Florida, but we sit in what is called Pasco County, Florida. And our transportation systems here for people with disabilities, I'm just being honest, is horrible, right? So I think the more awareness that we get, I've actually spoke at technical schools, and I've met people that moved from other states that are blind, and and they've moved here thinking it's the same type of transportation and the same opportunities to go places and see things, and it's not. So I think it's the awareness of opportunity, right? And the more that you can get out there and the more that we can give this opportunity to these people is there. I mean, I see, in your nonprofit, but I see that the like you said, just like this webinar, the more that we can get people involved and the bigger that this can grow, it's truly the more that we can help people, right? So I think that's that.
Awesome. Thank you. And over to you, Tony.
Thank you. Well, in my opinion, I think that a good component of the success of a program of programs like the ones that we're talking about, it is very directly related to the coach and the people that are working with the student, with the OJT, because that relationship that I know that you have, Devin, and your team also has with the students, in that feedback loop that we're always having. How is he doing? What did he say? Are they okay? Do they have any feedback? And us on our end as well. It really does create a big difference in the success of the program. And in terms of opportunities to improve, like Roy was saying, connecting the dots, because I think that at a community level, there are a lot of organizations that are trying to reinvent the wheel. And it is our job internally, on kind of on the fringe of the system, to identify where are the gaps and be the connectors. Perfect example is what we're doing here. Is so there is there's there's a part of USF that's working with these students, and now we are here trying to create intentional curriculum, trying to create curriculum that we know is going to. I'm looking at all the jobs and tasks that we're creating as curriculum, and knowing that if I have a student that has no idea of nothing about anything, and I put them through our curriculum, which includes mission, vision, culture, why are companies for, what role do workers play in companies, how do you grow in a company, how do you understand that the more you give, the more money you're going to make. So I'm going to teach you that, and then I'm going to also teach you a skill, because I'm going to teach you about recycling, and I'm going to teach you about computer recycling, and I'm going to teach you how to make money too. And maybe you'll uncover something that piques your attention, and then now all of a sudden you're studying a CompTIA certification to become a hardware specialist because of a server that you were able to mess around with when you were here. So working with everybody that's involved in this big picture in how to create that, for the sake of everybody, I think that's a good, in my opinion, gap that community partners can jointly fill for the betterment of the program and the money that's available. Because at the end of the day, this is all tax-paying dollars, so it's our responsibility to make it as much efficient as we can, right? That's my opinion.
Yeah, and also completely agree with that. I think one of my personal focuses this last year was to bring together organizations like ours that are providing similar or the same services in the greater Tampa Bay area and lean on each other for, not only to communicate about, employers and connections, but also about transportation and, resources during the hurricanes and just anything we can do, because you're right, a lot of us are providing similar types of services, and we would have an exponential impact on our community if we were able to work together in a more meaningful way. And so I love that. I invite that, and we can maybe continue that conversation too, Tony, just to kind of see, what we can do to make that happen. The last portion of this presentation is I just wanted to open it up to the group. It looks like we've got about 19 people who are participating today. So I wanted to find out if anyone had any off-script questions for Roy or Tony.
So if you have a question, you can raise your hand or you can put it in the Q&A. I can also undo your mics if you raise your hand. Before I go to Kiera, I do have a couple questions and a comment. So Roy, I commend you on facilitating your employees to become natural supports for individuals with disabilities and helping persons with disabilities to maintain employment in our coming digital age, because being content experts is very important for them to maintain employment in the future with the advent for AI. So I just wanted to say kudos to you for that. And I also want to know, have either of you, hired any persons with intellectual or developmental disabilities to work in your company full time? Anybody can answer.
For sure. On our end, I'll go first. We just had a recent success story of someone that we brought on board. Right now, we have 4 active candidates that are going through the program, and we'll probably offer another position to one of them. We see that because of this new approach that I was mentioning, I do see it as something that it's going to be drastically different for us in the coming year, because it's becoming a factor on our growth and the need that we have here. So.
Okay, thank you. And Kiera Anderson, you have a question? You can turn on your mic and your camera.
Real quick before Kira goes, I just wanted to interject too. Sorry, Kira. But I wanted to just say sometimes Denise, and oftentimes we won't disclose the actual type of disability to the employers we're working with. So we're just providing enough information for Tony or for Roy or similar employers to know how they can be accommodated. But I will say that both of them have offered jobs to individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And so I just wanted to put that out there, because oftentimes, we are job coaches, front and center, but there are, a lot of individuals we work with where we're coaching them from the side and the employer has no idea we're even working with them. In this case, I've had a great relationship with both Roy and Tony. But I did want to just add that note.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for the wonderful information. I really appreciate it. I currently work in a Florida Post-Secondary Comprehensive Transition Program. So we are a college program for adults with intellectual disability. And Tony, you made a comment about adjusting processes to accommodate needs of different employees, which I absolutely love. My question to you is, how do I sell that to employers that I am working with or trying to work with in our program? Because a part of our program is students have to do 2 work-based learning experiences, and that is supposed to prepare them for what's a paid internship at the very end of their program. And the biggest problem I have is employers and getting past the concrete walls of hiring somebody with an intellectual disability.
That is such a good question. So a natural evolution for us is we start realizing that we will definitely be more successful if we're able to identify candidates that would want to pursue a certification, which in our case, unlike the challenge that Roy has, for test bench, for entry level technical work, there is a certification. Good thing about the certification is that it's also paid for by Career Source and stuff like that, or subsidized. So if we're able to identify a member that is interested in getting that certification, then we could potentially, this is how I am envisioning it, by default, as an e-recycling company, we are engaging and interacting with IT departments in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
These IT departments might be very robust or and have from entry level help desk to something more advanced. And those are the folks that we want to then tap into and tell them, hey, just letting you know, we're about to graduate another set of interns that have gone through the eSmart way, and they're also getting their CompTIA certification. If you want to tap into them, here they are, right? But that's an evolution that's like medium term that I see as we start putting more people through the program. And we are internally creating an educational module. So we're creating with our software team kind of a Learn Dash extension where the students can go through each module, and then at the end of the internship, they can have a certificate of completion of everything that they learned because they had to go through the module. That's how we're envisioning it, but that's probably maybe a year in the making.
Okay,
I'll keep you
great.
Thank,
posted.
yeah, thank you for that. So, um, to you, Tony, your company is more profitable, you said, with persons with disabilities working there as you have perfected your processes and come up with curriculums to make certification and make the job easier for people to understand, despite what their disabilities are. And you also mentioned that you look for that spark in their eye. Um, can you describe what that spark looks like? And also you, Roy, because you mentioned that too, that lets you know this person wants to work here or do something here because we've got their attention.
Yeah, who wants to go first? I can.
You can go, right? I was just talking.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing that I think the number one thing that people need to remember is the hardest thing that we have as business owners is finding people. Like, I could be twice the size of I am if I could find the people. Like, you find them, but then you want more of them, right? In finding good, solid people nowadays is not easy. It's not easy. So the most important thing that if that you're breaking it down to finding, do they match with you? You can teach skill, you can teach people something, but it's what's inside them, right? It's are do they have a drive to do they have the passion to want to be in this technology field that I'm in, right? And then are they the type of person that's going to dig in, right? And they're going to show up on time, be part of a team, because the second layer of teaching the skill is there. But what we're looking for, and I think what she had said earlier, is it's explaining to an employer that you're getting an opportunity. I've had the benefit of the candidates I've had. They may have a disability, but man, they make up for that disability in other ways. Like, I've found the candidates that I have that they dig in, like they want that, like you said, that sparkle in their eye. So I think it comes down to the process in which an employer is hiring or
Mm-hmm.
bringing somebody on OJT to. It's our job to figure out, are they the right candidate for us, right? And it's asking essential questions and looking at them and seeing if they're that type of person, because we do 100%. There's no employer that wants turnover. Like, we don't want turnover. It's the most expensive thing known to man, turnover. Like, we want a solid team member. So I think that is a way. It's the ability to figure out the disability of the person that's coming in, but figure out their strengths and serve to those strengths. So
Thank you. We have 5 minutes left, and I have one slide that I also want to show. So, Tony, you want to answer that question?
Well, I believe in the opportunity specifically as it relates to our industry and our business model to a point where I know that when we perfect this vision that we have, it will be a component that will drive profitability for us. I've yet to necessarily decide on that because there is a learning curve and it takes time from our current team to pay attention. But as you create better, more self-guided processes, then that burden gets relieved. And then that's when you get to a point of like a sweet spot. And that's the one that we're trying to find. And for us, it's like if you, from what I've seen, every time we sit in front of someone that has had some hardware experience and they're really into computers, knowing that they have this playground of devices that they can mess around with, like I said, you're like, do you think you would be excited if you were working here? Yes, yes. They just can't even contain it. They're so excited. And then if you have someone that's excited, just give me someone with passion. I'll take care of the rest. Give me someone with passion and I'll be able to guide them, but just give me that passion and they have it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Devin, I see you have 2 more slides. You're muted. What is it doing? I have them out at it.
Am I back?
Yes.
You're
Can you
back, but it says sign out something on your
Okay.
screen.
Yeah, I don't know. I got lost in the slide share. So let's see. Yeah, it looks like it kicked me out.
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
Give me a second. I just gotta get to that slide.
Thank you, Denise. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Need tech support today. And it
There you
came
go.
out. Yeah,
It
so
came out a little wonky, but I
that's all right.
apologize for that.
Yeah, you get the point. And this is interesting because Roy, you kind of mentioned this exact quote, but in a little bit of a different way. So I thought that was kind of profound. But tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, and involve me and I learn, by Benjamin Franklin. And I think that at the end of the day, it's just a matter of how we learn. And in order for us to be successful, not only in school, but also at work, we need to be met with information in a way that we receive it. And so I think part of us slowing down and getting to know the person, part of the employer is slowing down and getting to know the trainee is just having an understanding of how they learn. How can I deliver that information? And I think as Tony touched on, as long as they have passion, the rest we can deal with, the rest we can work with. And so I just wanted to kind of remind everybody, in this virtual room and just in general that if we can start with the passion, we can really figure out the rest as a group. And then the last slide was just some contact info in case anyone wanted to reach out to Tony or Roy or myself with links to their businesses. So thanks, everyone. I really appreciate it. And I know, Denise, you have another slide you'd like to share.
Yes, because people are always interested in getting their certificates of attention. So you do have to complete our survey to get your APD credentialed certificate. You can scan the QR code here, and I am also going to put the link in the chat. Again, if you have difficulties, let me know. I do apologize with the last one. Our computer systems have been hacked, so all of our websites were down and nothing was working. But they are all back up and working now, so this link should work for you. And if you have any difficulties, let me know. I do appreciate you, Devin, Tony, and Roy, for being here today. I do appreciate all of our viewers today. And I hope that what you get from this is that the one slide that he showed, that if you tell a person something, they'll forget. But if you teach them, they may remember. And if you involve them, then they will learn. And that is something that's very important when working with individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. You can't just talk to them. You have to involve them and you have to teach them, and they will learn. And as we've learned from today, they can become data administrators. They can become IAT certified. They can do a lot of different things with your company. And we all know that it increases their productivity. So thank you all for being here today and have a great day.
Thank you, Denise. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Roy. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, everybody.
You too. Bye-bye.